Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rome's Reality Podcast. This is going to be episode number 6 of season 49's recap series. It should be a good one. Just want to go ahead and give a quick disclaimer. The first 10 minutes or so, we had some technical difficulties, but we were able to get it through. So there's going to be a little bit of scratching coming through. But aside from that, aside from the first 10 minutes, it'll be good to go. So enjoy this interview and enjoy how Ms. Diaz Twine breaks down season 49.
All right, everyone. Hello and welcome on into Rome's Reality Podcast. It's your boy Rome here with Jake as usual. Jake, how are you feeling today, man?
Great. I'm so sorry. I think I was clearing my throat as you were doing your introduction. So apologies to anybody who heard this.
It's all good. It's all good. And we also have a very special guest with us today. We have the queen, the first 2-time winner in Survivor history. We've got Sandra Diaz Twine. Sandra, how are you feeling today?
I'm doing wonderful. Yay!
Yeah, we tried to make things work in Discord, and for some reason, Discord was making Sandra go through a million loops to make an account and all that stuff. So we are going to do this the old school way, and we'll hope that you all enjoy it. But I think you all will. So, Sandra, first of all, let's just cut straight to it. How are you enjoying the season so far?
I always love Survivor. We have our greatest seasons and our worst seasons. This one's all right. Like, I really enjoyed. I look forward to it every Wednesday, and so far I can't complain. And last night's episode was pretty good. I was very entertained.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I would agree. I think online it's getting a little bit of flack, but I still think that there's been some good gameplay aspects, and there's definitely a lot of potential for things to shake up down the line, right? So looking at this episode from the start, right? We've got it coming back from Tribal, the nighttime shot that we always get. And, this nighttime shot is essentially Jawan saying that Sophie would be next to go if this group 4 had to go to the next Tribal. And this doesn't really matter too much because pretty much right after this we swap, right? So it kind of shows like how the dynamics might have went if they went to Tribal, but then we go straight to the reward challenge, which was interesting. That was our only bit of camp life that we got before we went to the reward challenge. Jake, did you think that was kind of interesting?
I didn't mind this because if we're doing a second swap, like, let's get to it. That's the meat of it. That's the meat of the episode. Let's get to it. Like, that's what I want to see. I don't care about camp life. I think it like this.
That makes sense. Sandra, what do you think about just essentially straight to the reward challenge?
You know what? And the fact that you point that out, and I watched the episode, and that's not what I took away from the first 2 seconds. I didn't even pay attention to that. So that tells that you guys are above par when it comes to breaking down these episodes. Because for me, a lot of times I have to watch the episode 2 and 3 times for me to catch everything. But I didn't even remember that happened, and I watched it. I'm probably going to be like the greatest person you can interview.
No. You're going to be fantastic. We just break things down piece by piece. We try to write down the important things in the episode. That way we can reference it and not lose too much focus and track of like just exactly what happened.
And here's the thing. The fact that Jawan is the one telling us who's going home when he doesn't even realize that he's the one on the bottom.
Yep.
He wasn't the time the episode was over, but still, it's usually the ones that are talking the most shit that think they're running stuff that know the least about what the fuck is going on.
Yep. That happened twice this episode, we can say, with Savannah and Jawan. But man, so we jumped straight to the reward challenge, right? And Jeff talks about the heat, right? He says this is one of the hottest days one of the hottest first 11 days that we've had, right? And then he asked Alex a question. Alex, he gloats a little bit about eating the chicken, right? Savannah calls it annoying under her breath, and then Jeff, casually announces that it'll be 3 tribes of 4 instead of merging, which they all pretty much were expecting. But the thing is, when they walked into the challenge and they saw 3 different colors set up, I'm assuming that they knew they weren't going to be merging, right? Like Sandra, do you think they would assume that walking in if they saw three setups?
Absolutely. You always pay attention. You're there before you actually walk out. Sometimes you walk across the challenge, you get a peek, your head starts spinning. You start, it's usually not what you think it is. But in this scenario, you do see three colors. You know there's enough people to break everyone up equally.
Yeah.
So you have to say, uh-oh, are we about to swap again?
Yeah.
It's not what you want. You want it to be everything but that, because usually you might be sitting pretty and next thing you know, you're in a bad predicament, a bad situation. But I'm sure it all crossed their minds. They knew. And that's why Christina probably fell out. That's probably what blood pressure went up.
Yeah.
I've gone all this time without tribal council. She had been lucky thus far, but it was about to end.
Yeah, like I think that she maybe thought that like, ooh, I'm not sure that this group of four is gonna cut it in this challenge, and maybe things got to her a little bit, but also I did think it was funny that everyone has been asking for the two tribe format for so long, and the second that Jeff switches it from two tribes back to three, Christina immediately backs out. I thought that was hilarious, like how that worked.
But walking up on the three tribe thing, it could have been another classic Survivor fake out or whatever Jeff told us last week.
Right? Yeah. Jeff said last week we have classic Survivor fake outs. So who knows? Could have been one of those. But yeah, I assume that the players.
They weren't going to do a fake out two days in a row.
Yeah.
The game's got to go.
Exactly.
We only have 26 days. We don't have 39 days.
Exactly. So Christina almost passes out, right? The doctor tells her to hold her breath. Now, this is what I took away from this, right? Christina had a situation where it's super, super hot. And she said she started to shake, right? Now, I had a situation like this out there after the very first immunity challenge. It was super hot and it was off camera. We were in the tents and my lips started to shake. I'd never felt that in my life. It was my lips and then it was my feet and it was my toes, right? And my toes were shaking, like they were vibrating. Like it was the weirdest feeling ever. And I said, hey, I don't know what's going on. I told the person, hey, I don't know what's going on, but like my lips are shaking, my feet are shaking. Like I feel a little bit crazy right now. And they said, all right, go see the doctor. So I went out of the tent and pretty much they sat me down and they said that I was overheating. So they told me to do the exact same thing. They told me to slow my breathing down. They had me hold my breath. That way I was forced to slow my breathing down. They did the exact same thing. The only thing that they did for me as well is they took a cold ice blanket and put it around my shoulders as well to like cool down my body temperature, which did help cool me down relatively quicker than just, sitting there in the hot sun. So salute to Christina for literally having that moment and then doing a challenge after. I will say, because I've been there and it is a tough feeling, It is definitely a tough feeling. So what did you think about this moment, Sandra? Have you ever had a moment like that?
Never. And in my head, I would have taken advantage of that situation had I ended up on the tribe with her. Like, if she's passing out, and to me, I felt like it was over what Jeff said, which was simply a tribe swap. I mean, we're all hot. We're all in the same location. I've actually been in Fiji several times. That never happened. The only person something happened to was Caleb, Beast Mode Cowboy, when he fell out. But even then, it was on his previous season. So I would have I exaggerated the whole situation, like, oh, Lord, she just passed out simply because now she's stuck on a whole different tribe, having to start from zero like everyone else. She's been saved by tribal council because she hasn't had to go. Now the power's gone and now she's, panicking. That, to me, it just equal panic.
Wow. So you would have flipped it on her. You would have used it against her in a little bit. Okay.
Had we lost, yeah. Well, that's a reward challenge, but I mean when it comes to immunity.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it was just for a reward.
Passing out at a damn reward challenge.
All right, so Jeff announces that the winner will get grilled cheese, chips, brownies, and a drink, right? I think it was iced tea, or I forgot what drink, which is a pretty nice reward, especially at 12 pre, what I'm saying, like still pre-jury technically.
Especially when people are passing out from the heat.
Yeah, so there wasn't really much that stuck out about this reward challenge. It was a pretty simple reward challenge. I feel like all three stages were. And then the very end one was just tossing the discs and knocking down the pillars, which, again, it's not like it's complicated. It's just, it's just about being able to do it real quick, So I did think that this was a cool reward challenge, but I did think it was on the simpler end of challenges as a whole. And Rizzo ended up winning it for the new Hina tribe. And Alex ended up winning it for the new Uli tribe. And so the new Kella tribe, which consists of Jawan, Savannah, Steven, and Sage, end up losing. So the Kella tribe, that is interesting, actually, that the Kella tribe lose the reward challenge and the immunity challenge later. I wonder if that actually maybe has something to do with it. I didn't even think about it.
But that tribe is cursed.
Listen, first I want to talk about those grilled cheese sandwiches.
Okay.
Because I remember Game Changers, we ended up with a reward of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and we only had like 7 sandwiches to split between all of us, so we only got a half a sandwich.
Wow.
So they got a whole 2 pieces of bread and probably 2 slices of cheese. That was a hell of a damn reward for 11 days in on a 26-day game, so I think they got it so easy. But anyway.
Yeah. I mean, listen. On my season, I didn't eat at all. I never got any food the entire time unless I caught it. Like the only food that I ate was the fish that I caught, and what else? Caught a hermit crab and then coconut. That's all I ate in the entire 12 days. That's also why I lost 28 pounds. So like, I don't know. Maybe they don't want players to lose 28 pounds in 12 days the way that I did. But I mean.
Yeah, I've been on several of those islands, and a lot of times these people don't know what they're looking for. And someone like me, or a Jam or Heidi, someone that comes from a tropical island, has a better shot of finding food than a lot of these people. For example, the whole chicken last week, they didn't even know how to clean the chicken, but they figured it out. There's food out there in Fiji. There's no way there's no food. We saw the breadfruit tree. They got a breadfruit tree. So there's food out there. It's just a matter of looking for it. There's big coconut crabs everywhere you look. There's food in the ocean, even if it's just a salty sea cucumber. It's just the want,
Yeah, and see,
they're waiting for the reward, or they're waiting for a handout before they bother to go looking for something to eat.
yeah, I mean that is very true, and I mean, I know on my tribe, I felt that initiative. That's why I was going out there fishing. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, look, we got the gear. Like, I'm gonna try to get fish. Like, why wouldn't I?
There's clams out there. There's giant clams. I remember when the tide would go down, we'd go walking in straight lines, and you always find a big clam, and you can even eat them raw, and put something in your system. So there's food out there.
Okay. Well, hey, that's good. That's really good to know, honestly. So I thought it was funny that at the end of the reward, Jake, I want to get your take on this. At the end of the reward, when Jeff doubled over from the heat, and Rizzo said, "You too, Jeff?" And he said, "Hey, it's hot out here," and he said, "Hey, welcome to Survivor." I thought that was hilarious when Rizzo told Jeff, "Welcome to Survivor." What'd you think about that, Jake?
I love anytime anybody can turn it on Jeff. Jeff needs to be put in his place sometimes. And I think Rizzo did a good job of that.
Yeah, it was lighthearted. It was definitely lighthearted. Sandra, what do you think about that?
Well, I think every season Jeff has more and more things to do, and he takes on more jobs and more responsibility, and he doesn't have to. So I think maybe he should just chill, relax, enjoy the moment, and just hand off tasks to other people, because he is there for hours on end before we even show up,
Yeah.
So there's no telling what all he was doing that day that has him exhausted. He might have forgot to take a sip of water and get hydrated. So, but he doesn't need to do all of that. There's plenty of people around him that can do more things, and he could just chill and relax. I would.
Yeah.
I would if I was Jeff.
I mean, he's put
relaxing is also a thing you can do. Put that on your schedule. This is just advice to our friend Jeff Grove.
Take a break, take a breather, right? Just a little one. Nah, I mean, he's a super busy guy though, but that's part of the point, like maybe some of those things that he's doing, like you said, Sandra, it might be time to hand off some of the things he's doing behind the scenes, just so he doesn't have to stay as busy. But I did think it was a cool, personable moment. It showed that Jeff is human yet again. He's had a lot of those moments where
it shows that he's not a robot. So I did think that it was a cool moment between Rizzo and him. So then we go to camp life before the immunity challenge, and there is a lot of camp life here before we get to this immunity challenge. So first tribe we go to, MC. She knows she's at the bottom, and she still doesn't have her vote because they haven't lost yet. MC tells Rizzo that Sage told them about his idol, right? Rizzo says he expected it, but he still wants to put fear in people by people knowing that he has it. So that was kind of the takeaway from that tribal segment with that tribe. So Sandra, what did you think about this as a whole, this interaction about MC telling Rizzo that Sage told them about his idol?
Not only did she know, but he said she told everyone.
Yep.
So that it wasn't a secret anymore. So he says he wants to instill fear in him, but at the end of the day, he's the one that's going to be panicking more about it than anyone else, because when are they going to force him to play it? Are they going to try to send him home without him using it? Or, it could be 1,001 different scenarios, but he thought he had the upper hand, and now he knows everyone knows. And when a lot of people know, what advantage do you really have? You don't. And it makes you a bigger target. And he doesn't mind being the bigger target, but I think it's foolish because, people are not going to trust you because, they want to know your secret, although they wouldn't tell you what their secret is, but they still want to know. And when you have something that they don't have, it's also one of those things where, okay, I got to look out for him because he's capable of getting to the end.
Yeah.
He has the possibility of getting further than I do in the game because he has this event, So I'd be careful. He's making it seem like he's okay with it. No, he's not. I'm sure he wishes it all stayed under wraps, and it didn't. It's out now.
Yeah. I could definitely see that side of it for sure. That makes a ton of sense. Like, I definitely think he's sweating a little bit. He can sit here and put on the persona that, like you said, like, I want to instill fear, but like you stated, he might be the one that is most afraid right now. That I actually like that.
Yeah,
take.
like who really is right now saying, "Oh, I'm so scared of Rizzo and his advantage."
Yeah, not the way he was waddling out into the ocean. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but then we go to the next tribe, right? I'm not even going to say the tribe names because at this point there's only 12 people. We know who they are, right? So Nate realizes he's at the bottom. He says that he wanted to work with Jason, which was a lie. And Sophie, Christina, and Alex all clocked that he was lying, right? So, like, Jake, what'd you think about this, man?
It's a smart idea. It feels like it's because once Jason's not going to come back and tell him that he's lying. But I mean, if Sophie, Christina, and Alex all recognize that he's lying, and moot at this point.
Yeah,
I applaud him for trying, though. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good attempt. I mean, what do you think about this, Sandra? Do you think that Nate kind of set himself up for failure with this, or do you think that he was just kind of trying to save his butt a little bit? Like, is this something you would do? What do you think?
I feel like there wasn't much he could do. He did make it sound like he did want to work with him, but the cards he was dealt was different. I'm just glad that Sophie said to him that Christina had thrown her name out 2 times. That was my takeaway. Like, where does Christina get off always throwing out my name? How about, listen, since we threw out my name last time, how about you take a hit and we'll throw out your name this time and tell Nate we're going to vote you out instead of me. Like, I didn't want I don't want to confuse you. I'm just glad that Sophie talked to Nate.
Yeah.
And that Nate and her seem to want to work together, because I did not appreciate, as Sophie said, Christina just throwing her name out again the way she previously did. And Sophie shouldn't have just went to Nate. She should have checked it right then and there. That's what I would have done. I would have said, yo, I took the hit last time. Thank God I wasn't the one going home. But since it's something easy for you to do, how about we tell Nate you're the one going home, Christina, and see how you like that? Because when your name is out there way too many times, it gets easier and easier for people to say. And before you know it, it's down on a piece of parchment. That's what I don't like.
That's very true. That's
I
very
really
true.
don't care about what Nate had to say, because at the end of the day, when there's a tribe swap and you don't know these people, you're gonna say whatever. And a lot of times we're just gonna take that with a grain of salt. No one is really gonna be like, well, he's telling the truth, or oh, he's lying. I mean, although they know he's being deceitful, they don't believe him. But no one was ever gonna believe him whether he told the truth or not.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true, because he was from the other side, and he'll say anything to save his butt, right? So they could assume that he was lying. That makes sense. That makes sense. So so then we cut to the other tribe, the New Kella tribe. And this one's pretty quick, right? We get the chickens that got loose. Jawan and Steven were vibing, right? Showing that they clearly get along. And Savannah tells Jawan that it's going to be an easy vote. That it's going to be the Steven vote, right? And then we get Shannon talking about how, she's got lucky girl syndrome, and and now Sage, makes it clear and obvious that she wants to get rid of Shannon, right? Like with all the facial expressions and everything. There's Shannon talking about how she remembers being in the womb, right? Just saying a bunch of ridiculous things. Like, Sandra, have you ever had someone like this on a season of yours?
No, not as annoying as Shannon's being.
Okay. Wow,
She's
that says a lot.
too annoying. And like Sage said, she's putting on the schmooze. Like, it's too thick.
Yeah, I mean, Jake, what do you think about Shannon and everything Shannon?
I will remain diplomatic and say she is not somebody that I would probably hang out with in real life, and just leave it at that.
Well, the way people are in real life versus in the game is totally different, because I've connected with people whose game, I'm like, oh, that was a hot mess. But I've never played with a Shannon, but I love the whole dynamic between Sage and Shannon, and the way they go back and forth, and the way we watch her make faces at Shannon, and Shannon thinks she's with everyone and she's everyone's number one, and there's no way she's going to go home, and she's dictating who goes home. And like, we love when they fail. And even when she fails, she still thinks she won,
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. Well, that's what we get from that Shannon segment, and then on the new Uli tribe, I just wanted to point this out because I thought this was incredibly impressive. Alex caught a crab with his bare hands. Like that is like, to be able to catch a crab. Like people saw how fast that thing was moving. Those things are so quick and have very quick reaction.
Yeah, but he has an advantage with those bare hands. Everybody else has got human hands. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
He can't do anything with that crab. I'm gonna be honest with you. You can't even get the meat out of it. You'd have to like boil it and then chew the crab, with the skeleton still on it. Like, you're just gonna have to chew through the hard shell, because you can't get any meat from that crab.
Yeah, just because it's so tiny, right? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he caught it. Yeah, it made the segment, but really, you can't do anything with it.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Yeah, it is a tiny fish, but I still thought it was impressive to be able to snag it with your bare hands. I still thought that was pretty cool, So I at least wanted to give Alex his props for that. Shout out to you, Alex. But then let's see. We cut to Rizzo. And Rizzo says he's going to have his Aussie moment, and he attempts to go fishing, and he gave up about 5 feet into the water. Jake, what are your thoughts on this?
Too relatable, honestly. I've only ever been scuba diving one time. It was at a pool in Disney World. I was like 8 years old, and I didn't like how the water felt on my face, so I turned around and got out of the pool. Ran away. So I completely related to Rizzo in this moment.
So you understood. Okay, what about you, Sandra? How did you feel about this moment?
Well, anytime we've been out there and people go spear fishing, they only go with the mask and the spear. They never take the flippers.
Exactly.
No one ever, they hurt your feet.
Yep.
They cause, they dig into, like, no one ever uses them, so they never go in the water. Those things, they just give them to you to pretend like they're giving you something else, but no one ever uses them.
That's why on my season, when I went out there and Saul was like, "You didn't use the flippers," and I was like, "Nope, but no flippers, no problem," right? And I took it up because when I put on the flippers, I realized it was digging into my Achilles, and I was like, "That hurts." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that, I'm not just gonna have that happen the whole time. So I just went out there in my Nikes.
All the seasons I've been on that they use that stuff, they never, ever, ever use the flippers.
Yeah, and just because you have to walk on coral, like I had to keep my shoes and socks on, just because like that coral will tear you up so easily. People don't understand how sharp it is. It's insane.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's one of the things that they don't really warn you about until you get cut on the leg. Then it's like, that one really hurts.
And then he speared that little tiny fish. Poor thing, he wasn't going to do nothing with that little fish either.
Yeah, that was about the size of like the 13 fish that I caught out there when I was out there. Like they were all like really small fish. Like they weren't big at all, but we just left them on the skewer and roasted it over the fire like a s'more and then just ate it down to the bones, you know, and we were able to at least get a little bit of meat out of them. So, you know, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. But just catching one,
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, just catching one is like nothing for a whole tribe. Yeah. But yeah, so that was Rizzo's fishing situation. I thought it was going to be a lot more based on the preview, not going to lie, but it is what it is. And then Sophie, Rizzo, and Savannah all go looking for an idol, right? Because they say, all right, the only thing that can mess us up is his MC finds an idol. So they go looking, and then Sophie finds knowledge is power, which she already knows that Rizzo has an idol. So how, like, what are your thoughts about this dynamic, Sandra? I want to hear, like, what's your thoughts of how Sophie's playing this?
I'm glad that Sophie kept it to herself. I'm hoping that she continued looking even after the fact, just so they'll never suspect her. And all she has to do is keep her ears open and her mouth shut. And there's definitely potential for her to do damage by keeping it to herself, because they already know, like you said, Rizzo's information is already out there. So if she plays her cards right, this could help her stay in the game a little bit longer. You know, I'd actually set up Rizzo. Take whatever advantage he has, plus put his ass out the game.
I mean, that's definitely a big move. That would be pretty awesome to see. I'm not gonna lie. Man, if that ends up happening down the line, I will be head over heels for this season. That would be absolutely awesome to watch.
Even if she doesn't find out if anyone else has anything, she at least has. She knows of one person's idol or advantage or whatever it is that Rizzo holds. What is it that he holds?
He has an idol. He has a full idol.
So at least she knows she can take his idol.
Yeah, she can take his idol and be safe at any tribal council that she feels like she's. And she even said, she was like, "Listen, I think that people like telling me things right now, like right, which I mean, that's a good place to be." So she understands, hey, if I'm gonna keep getting information and I have knowledge is power, I'm keeping it to myself. So, like you said, I gave big props to Sophie for keeping that one to herself. So, to keep moving this along, just so we could breeze through this thing, the immunity challenge is what's next. And I thought this was kind of wild. Jeff didn't say a word to them. He just asked for the idols back. He said, all right, you ready to get your immunity challenge? He literally didn't address not one person, which I thought was wild once they got to the mats. He just started the challenge. He asked for the idols back, and then, boom, they started the immunity challenge. Like, there was literally no... How are you guys feeling today? Like, there was none of that. I thought that was interesting how, like, they both challenges, they kind of jumped right to it, which I kind of liked, honestly.
Hold on. We weren't there. They could have just cut that out because they needed the time to tell the other stories that were happening at the different camps.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't mean that it didn't happen.
Oh, yeah. No, it more than definitely happened. I'm just more saying, like, it's surprising that they didn't show it, you know, this time on both, because they usually show at least a little bit of the banter that Jeff has with one or two people at least, you know. But this time he didn't do anything. They just showed us jumping straight into it.
There's just more interesting stuff in the episode than Jeff doing a pre-game interview.
Yeah, I think that might have been it because this episode was jam-packed, especially after the immunity challenge. Like they had to squeeze a lot into it. And so pretty much this immunity challenge was pretty straightforward. You stack the bags, right? You get the thing, you make a stick, you get the key off the stick, off the end of the thing with the stick, and then it's the maze ball ending, right? Is the maze ball, which we've seen in season 45, season 47, season was it in 48? Might have been 48 too, but in season 49, right? So it's a popular challenge at this point in the new era. And for the players for the final part, Savannah and Rizzo, they breezed through this. They might have got it on the first or second try. Sage and Nate, they only dropped once. At least that's what the edit showed. You know, it showed them doing really well, so it showed them only dropping once, and then it showed Jawan struggle repeatedly with with I believe it was Sage. Yeah, it was Sage. And it seemed like, Sage had things good to go. She was coordinated, and it just seemed like Jawan was very uncoordinated in the situation. He even admitted, I'm getting nervous. My bad. I got nervous. And like, that is the worst time to get nervous, is when you have to have a super delicate hand and be really coordinated and understand when to go up and down, right? Like, so if you have a partner with you that's not coordinated, this challenge is almost impossible, like Jeff said. So, Sandra, what are your thoughts about this challenge as a whole?
My thing is too, if you're not sure of how you're gonna perform, especially at the end when that's the most crucial element of the game, then do one of the beginning stages. Look how long it took Christina to get the key because the sticks were bending all over the place and she wasn't tying them tight. It's just easier to do something in the middle because people tend to forget versus at the beginning or at the end of the challenge. So he could have just, Jawan could have just stuck to doing the second part, but a lot of times too, they volunteer thinking, oh, I'm going to do great. And then they realize it's not so easy. Nothing on Survivor is ever easy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And
And look, a challenge like that, slow and steady is the way to go. Instead of trying to like hurry up and rush through it, even if you show up late and you're the last one at the mat to start that part of the challenge, you still want to take it slow and steady.
Yeah.
Because what the challenge calls for, you have to just be easy on that board and with that ball and it falling into the holes. Like, why even rush it?
Yeah, and like you remember early on in the season, I believe it was the first immunity challenge, the one with the snake maze and the ball with the circle around it that you had to pull the strings and be really tedious and really coordinated. Like, it's just like that one. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you have someone that's good at that type of thing, like that's the type of person you want on that situation, right? So I did think it was an interesting challenge for sure overall, but at the end of the day, Jawan did struggle with it. At least that's what the edit showed, was that Jawan was the one struggling with it. And now Jawan, Sage, Shannon, and Steven are going to tribals. So Jake, what is your thoughts about this tribal scramble where we get Shannon wanting to go for Jawan, and which is the opposite of what she told Jawan earlier, and she tells Sage this, but Sage wants to get out Shannon. So Sage tells Jawan that she's throwing out his name and her own name, saying that, Shannon threw out my name too. And, then Jawan tells Sage that Nate and Savannah love Shannon, which in my head is just even more of a reason that Sage would want to get out Shannon right now, because if Shannon's got connections and we can get her out now, why not go for it? And then Sage goes to Steven and says that they can get Shannon out and get Shannon on board, and get Jawan on board with the vote to get Shannon out, right? And then it kind of comes down to whether Steven says yes or no, which the show doesn't show us, right? It doesn't show us what Steven's conversation really, what his response to Sage saying that they could get Shannon out was, right? But it ended up obviously going that way. So what is your thought about this tribal scramble, Jake?
I thought this was a very good culmination of this sort of pre-merge story of Sage versus Shannon. This was a good climax for that. Like, I don't think that feud could have lasted the whole season. Maybe it could have. Maybe they would have built more of this relationship. But like, this felt like the right time for them to come to a head and take her out. I was happy with the result. So maybe that's why I look fondly back on this episode. But yeah, I thought it was good. It was a great, great culmination of a decent story.
Oh yeah. I felt the same way. I mean, Sandra, what are your thoughts about this?
So when Sage approached Juwan and then he makes a statement like he's not sure, he wants to keep the tribe strong and stay along tribal lines, I'm thinking like, oh my God, you dummy. Like she really did put your name out there. But sometimes, and I've been in a situation where you tell someone something for their situation, like, dude, I'm trying to help you out. And they want to go and verify every fucking thing you said, right?
Yep.
And screw it all up. And I'm thinking, oh my God, Juwan either is not believing her or he's going to go to Shannon and verify all of this. And now the cat's out of the bag. It's not going to be able to happen. Like, I wanted Shannon gone because I prefer Sage over Shannon, but I was like, oh my God, in her telling Juwan, because you can't pull this out without Juwan. You need Juwan, you need Steven. And I was like, is this dude gonna screw the whole thing, and not believe? Because remember at the beginning when he cried because he couldn't make fire and he knew he was at the bottom of the tribe?
Yeah.
Because in his brain, he's in charge. Steven's going to go home. They're going to stay strong. But the truth of the matter is, that's not so. So I was like, oh my God, dude, you better not fuck this up because if I could punch him through the damn TV, I would. So I'm glad that they went to tribal council, or I'm hoping that we didn't see him have a conversation with Steven because he liked Steven and that he finally believed what Sage said. And, but then they go to tribal council and what we all want to happen happens. So I was happy.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think tribal council was pretty straightforward. We get Shannon talking about how open she is and how she's leading yoga sessions and all this other, super kumbaya stuff. And I think Juwan kind of at tribal council was a little bit more cagey and a little bit more like, yeah, like this is about to go down, and then Shannon went home. I feel like this part of the episode was pretty straightforward. I feel like heading into tribal, it was pretty obvious that it was going to be Shannon.
Wait. But Shannon did make one or two comments, and Juwan was smiling, and I guess at that point, something inside of him said, she's talking about me.
Yeah.
So he probably understood, okay, I need to make this call, and then he saw it when the votes came out. He saw it, that she was the one who wrote his name down, which right then and there, I wholeheartedly would trust Sage 1,000% because she could have sent his ass packing.
Yep.
She had the opportunity. She could have waited to take Shannon out later, but she didn't. So that right there shows me loyalty,
Yeah.
With like those three can go far together if they just trust each other.
Okay, an unlikely trio. That could be interesting. That could definitely be interesting.
But Juwan's gonna fuck that up because he's gonna do something to Savannah and he's gonna just be one more notch.
Yeah, she has had it up to the wall with him.
Yeah, she's done with him.
Oh man! Yeah. All right. Well, here's something that we do at the end of all of our episodes that you probably don't do too often, but we're gonna do a few segments real quick, and we're just gonna they go really quickly. So, Jake, give me your player of the episode, and Sandra, I'll get yours next.
I feel like it goes without saying it's Sage, right?
Yeah, yeah.
She finally took her person out.
Yeah, I mean, she swung and didn't miss at all. So I don't really think there's anyone else that could get it. But in tradition on the podcast, we try to not repeat, right? So we try to get three different people, right? So if you're gonna go with Sage. If you're gonna go with Sage, then Sandra, who would you go with? Who else would you?
Then I would go with Juwan because he made the right call, even if it was by mistake, even if it was a fluke, but maybe he had butterflies at first, but then he probably listened and got that gut feeling that he needed to pull the plug on Shannon and did exactly what Sage said. And sometimes it takes strength and it takes willingness, and he had it. So I would say definitely Juwan.
Okay, all right. And it's funny because I was gonna go with Steven. So there we go. I think that Steven played this masterfully. He was really never in real danger of going home, in my opinion. Like, I feel like it was always going to be either Jawan or Savannah, even though his name did get thrown out as the quote unquote easy vote the day before. I think that once Tribal was actually looming, that things changed, and his social game and being likable, I think, is just keeping him as not being a target, and people want to work with him. Like, Sage wants to work with Steven and can work with Steven. And I think that that is something, like you said, that could last a long time, is this Jawan, Sage, and Steven situation. So that is something that I'm definitely excited to see in the future. But you also never know, at the merge, they could forget all about last Tribal and forget about last night and immediately just be like, okay, we're back to where we were, and go back to, so you never know exactly how things are going to go. But that was a good player of the episode segment. Okay, so now, Sandra, here's the next one. Do we want / think they will play again? So you got to answer both. Do you want and do you think they will play again for Shannon?
Like on a new season?
Yes, on another season.
Oh, no, we don't want Shannon to play again on another
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure I'd like her in regular life out there at charity events. And, we always want positive people. But playing, I don't want to play with someone that gets along with everyone. That's a dangerous person, But she's already been labeled that type of player, so she'll never be able to play that same game again.
Yeah. All right, Jake, what do you think? Do you want / think they will play again?
She's not a first ballot returnee for me, but if she did end up on a future returning season, I would not be mad. I think she was a fun TV character. Do I think they'll play again? Yes. I think they got a lot of mileage, the producers, out of Shannon. Like, she was a good character. I wouldn't be surprised if they brought her back.
Okay. All right. Personally,
what do you think?
Personally, like Sandra said, I prefer the players that don't get along with everyone. So personally, no. Do I think so? I mean, it's hard to say, just because, like, if you're a pre-merger, it is very, very tough to make a cut. Like, the only pre-mergers that have come back have been all huge characters, right? Like, you have to be a really big pre-merge character in order to come back. Like, it's been Boston Rob, Kelly Wentworth,
Francesca.
Yeah, Francesca did come back, but like it's very rare that pre-mergers come back, right? Like it rarely happens. So, so do I think they'll be on that short list? I'm just gonna go ahead and say no. So that's my take on it. So the next one, Sandra, is a hero, villain, or neutral. What was Shannon?
A hero.
Really?
Yeah, because the worst thing that she was doing was just making sure she had friends all over the place, and that she was well protected and insulated. And she threw out a name here or there, but that's not fine. Not on Survivor. She wasn't a dirty player. We all knew what she was doing. Sage told everyone what she was doing, so they knew what she was doing. So yeah, she was a hero. She was way too. That wasn't villain and that wasn't neutral.
Okay. All right, Jake, you agree?
I do. My first instinct was to say villain, just because she's an annoying TV character that people like to make fun of. But I think Sandra's right. She didn't really do anything villainous. Like, being annoying isn't villainous. If that were villainous, I'd be in jail forever. But,
no, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, yeah, that was my first inclination too, was to definitely say villain. But like now that Sandra broke it down, now the Queen broke it down,
think that I think she made a good point.
Listen, Shannon only threw out Juwan's name because they lost. You only throw out names when people lose. You don't sit there on a winning tribe and say, the first chance we, when we go home, Rome goes first, and does things in order to get you sent home. But she was just making sure she had connections everywhere. She did that with Christina. We saw how she was playing all these girls on these other tribes and making sure that she was good with everyone all around, that she was protected. Well, that wasn't villainous. She was playing the game.
Okay, I like it. All right, and the last two segments, and then we'll be out of here. We got the rating. What would you give the rating of this episode out of 10?
6.
Okay, Jake.
I would put it at a 7.5.
Okay,
It's not great, but it's pretty good.
okay, all right. I'll give it a 7. I'll give it a 7. I'll say a 7 just because the way that it was painted, it was still a little bit of a toss up heading into Tribal. Who was going to go home, right? Like it was still a toss up of were they able to bring Steven in? Were they able to convince it, or did they go back to the original plan? So I think that right there is the reason I'll give it a 7. So not a bad episode, but not a great one either. And all right, Sandra. So here is the next one. Here your winner pick. So based off of so far the edit, not based off like anything that you know what I'm saying you've seen or heard of or anything like that. Just based off edit alone, who do you think right now is your winner pick?
Alex.
Alex. Okay, I like it.
Wow. I never even think about Alex, to be honest, unfortunately.
Alex a lot of screen time.
Yeah.
But he's also been on the losing tribes.
That is true. And that does help you get a lot of screen time is losing a lot. So, I mean, Jake, who's your winner pick based off the edit so far?
I mean, I'm still in the Savannah boat. I feel like she's been getting a lot of, I don't know if I want to say positive edits, but she's been getting a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And has been moving in a way that feels like she could be a good player. I mean, we'll find out this coming week, right?
Yeah.
When the merge hits.
Yeah, right. I'll say MC as mine. Based off the edit, I'll say MC because she's been shown in a really positive light, pretty much in every way at this point, right? Like she's been shown as a challenge beast. She's been shown as someone that could be trusted. She's been shown that she can build a connection with Rizzo. Showing that she can get more people on her side and a little bit throwing Sage under the bus in a way, right? So I thought that was pretty cool. So that would be my winner pick, and that pretty much is it. I mean, the next time on Survivor, we pretty much get a hint at the merge, so we're definitely merging next week. So that's definitely fun, and I think that's pretty awesome. So I mean, that's pretty much that episode as a whole. So
but wait, I want to change the subject real quick. Go back to that episode. I just want to say that I got a kick out of Sage handshaking and not hugging.
That was brilliant.
Yes,
that was funny.
Thank you.
I love that.
I want to be genuine. So she had been fake all these hugs and all these I love yous and blowing kisses and all of this and all of that. But I would love to see. They got rid of all those fun things we used to watch on CBS.com, like behind the scenes, Ponderosa, the next day.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see what Shannon thinks of it all 24 hours later. Did she ever see something coming, or did she realize that Sage was not happy in that relationship, or that Sage, clocked her from the jump? She wasn't fooling everyone, so she thought.
Yeah, no, that is very true. That is very true. I mean, I like that a lot. I did like that a lot. I'm glad you pointed that out as well, because that was pretty significant, because it showed that Sage will stick to her truth at the end of the day, and I can respect that as a player, say what's on your mind, even if it makes people uncomfortable.
So I appreciate that. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about it. So you were just on 99 to beat as well. And you were on the Traders as well. Anything else you got going on, or is that it for now?
No, that's it for now. In the new year, I hope to have some stuff popping off, but you know, the holidays come in. I'm taking a break. I'm trying to figure out what my Thanksgiving menu is going to look like, but I'll figure that out from TikTok. It won't be from Discord.
Oh my gosh, it won't be from Discord. That's right. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, seriously, Sandra, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure to be able to get your feedback on this season so far. And myself, Jake, we appreciate it. You can follow us at the Rome's Reality Podcast on YouTube. You guys can subscribe. We'd appreciate it a ton. And just be on the lookout for next week's episode. And yeah, do you have anything else to say? Do you want to, as we sign off, Sandra?
No. For those that don't follow me, I'm Sassy SDT on Instagram. That's where I've been posting lately. Everything just goes over to my Facebook. I'm not on Twitter, so like Mike Holloway contacted me yesterday. He was like, "Girl, I'm on you." I'm like, "I'm not on Twitter. I don't know who you following on Twitter, but that ain't Sandra." So don't follow nobody on Twitter because it ain't me.
Good to know. Good to know.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh yeah, of course. It was a good time. It was a good time. All right. Till next time, we will catch you guys later. Like I said, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.